All right, so today what we're working on is there's a 1993 Suburban that's been in my family since 1994. And my mom owns it, but it's sitting in my sister's backyard down here in Florida. My mom's in Tennessee. So my goal on this project is to get that Suburban loaded up. We're gonna have to put there's a horse wagon there as well, like a horse-drawn wagon. That needs to go up to Tennessee as well from Florida, so we're gonna try and disassemble it and put it inside the Suburban and underneath the Suburban as best we can. And then we're gonna put that whole thing on the trailer, and we're gonna have to figure out kind of a weight distribution. So as the Suburban sits now, obviously the engine block being in the front of the vehicle makes the front heavier than the rear if you were to chop it in half in the middle, you know, front to rear. But once we put this wagon in the back, we might have to reevaluate that. But with the trailer being a 70-30 split on the rear axle, 70% of the trailer is in front of the rear tandem axles and 30% behind. So tongue weight is not a concern on this. Well, not having enough tongue weight is not a concern on this trailer, but having too much tongue weight could be a concern. And that's just the design of, I mean, any trailers, that's what you have to figure out, is distributing the weight. If you put the weight too far to the rear, you end up wagging the tail down the road and you'll end up blowing through tires, because the tires are working side to side your entire trip as opposed to just going straight down the road. So you don't want to be too rear heavy, but you also don't want to be too front heavy. This truck's got airbags, so we can level out the load well enough, but you got to think about, you know, if the load is too far forward on the trailer, you're putting more weight on the front axle if you're not perfectly level on the duals on the trailer. But you don't want to put so much weight on the truck that it's carrying the whole load. You want to make sure that you've got plenty on the trailer as well. And 20 to 25% tongue weight on a gooseneck is what I've found to be ideal, both through research and towing stuff with this. So as long as we can stay in that, you know, around 20% of the trailer load being on the tongue, we'll be fine. So we'll get that Suburban loaded up after we get the wagon stuffed in it, get her all chained down, and then we can start the trip back to Tennessee on our way back to Colorado. All right, so over here we have a horse-drawn wagon, and here is a almost mint condition 1993 Chevy Suburban half-ton, and this is the one that we're towing back to Tennessee. So we gotta get it pulled out of here, get that wagon shoved in the back the best that we can of this, and then get this pulled onto the trailer after we determine the weight distribution like we discussed earlier. Probably need to put a little air in the tires just to make them roll easier. Apparently this thing still runs, but that's not something that I'm going to mess with. So we're just going to drag it with the winch. think.
I'm gonna fold it. So you fold it, I'm gonna fold it. Ready?
I think if we take these bolts out of this, it'll separate it from the metal frame. We can just lift the wood platform off.
Okay, set it on the ground.
And then it'll just leave us with the metal frame, and we'll be able to disassemble these here. I think there's 3 per side.
Hold.
Probably under that block.
Take it.
And then we can just lift the wood deck off of the metal frame. Ready? Oh, like a glove. Maybe. Well, back doors might be open. That other door. You may have to turn it around, put these seats all the way forward, and shove that other portion front. Clear. Just saw a glob of that red grease on my hand, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm bleeding. What happened?
What size is the nut?
That 1 inch works. I almost started crying. I'm thinking about just pulling it straight on now with the weight distribution. I feel like all the stuff we're stacking in the back weighs at least as much as the engine block. All right, so wheels next, or
I'll throw the axles in and then do the wheels, and then
the axles are on the side there.
will you grab the masking tape?
I love masking tape that seam side impacts, so just keep ripping. wheel chock. You're gonna have to come back driver now.
Back what?
Driver side.
You put a 2x4 under the back tire, it'll lift right up past it.
After this one, do the 2x.
About to delete that.
I need a chalk. This bitch is about to roll.
About to roll.
Yeah, once those back tires break over that.
Oh, I see what you mean. Do the brakes work? They work. Centered enough?
Parking brake off.
Huh?
Parking brake off. Matthew. What?
Daniel, you clear? Daniel, you clear?
Yes.
Grab that chain, Daniel, so it doesn't run it over. All right. Put the fingers.
Start down the parking.
Yeah. All right, we're all loaded up. Chains and miters in the front, crossing each other, going to the lower A-arms. That's the best place that we can find to anchor it down. Through the stake pockets. The winch cable was just on there because we couldn't get it off after we put the chains on. There's no tension on it, so we're good there. Backside we have an axle strap. I can't really see because of the sun. On the backside here we have axle strap with the chain going through it, hooked to itself through the stake pocket across the trailer, and then up on the other side to another axle strap. Back up we have two heavy duty. Back up, we have 2 heavy duty ratchet straps here, and they're not, the webbing is not touching anything metallic, only the hooks are. So those axle straps are made for this, but I'm still kind of apprehensive to trust them by themselves to hold this thing from going forward. They're rated for 3,333 pounds each, so that's more than enough weight-wise. And they have the abrasion sleeves. That one's not perfectly aligned on there, but they have the abrasion sleeves. So I just wanted to back up because, like I said, I don't necessarily trust those. And if we would have used all chain, we would have had a ton of chain laying across the bed. So we're gonna go with this for now, and we'll just keep a really close eye on those. And if we see any wear or ripping, we'll do something different. I still have plenty of other chain, but everything's setting pretty good. Trailer sitting pretty good and level front to rear, and the truck's not squatting at all with the 70 pounds in the airbags. So we're gonna drive it on down to my dad's house where we're staying for now, and then it'll be on its way to Tennessee in a couple of days, where I'll shove it off the back of the trailer, and then that'll be its new resting place. Then I'm heading back home to Colorado with an empty trailer. So that's next. Family dropped off at the airport. They're heading back to Colorado. I should be able to meet up with them in a couple of days when I finally get home, but we got the Suburban loaded up on the trailer. It's pulling great. We're getting a fantastic average of 7.6 miles per gallon. This truck has plenty of power to pull this load. To venture a guess at this load, I'm guessing I have a 4,200 pound trailer and about 8,000 pounds of cargo between the truck bed and the trailer. Inside the Suburban is a horse-drawn wagon, so that probably adds a solid 1,000 pounds there. Plus I have all my tools and whatnot, and that's usually another 1,000. So
anyway, that's the way I heard it.
Walk around and do our mid-trip inspection real quick. Oh, that's nice and tight. All right, tight. Nice and cool. So what this is a 2-inch receiver tube, like you weld in the back of a bumper. This is actually a spacer that goes for a 2.5-inch to space down to a 2-inch. If you have like a big, like commercial 2.5-inch hitch on your truck and you want to run a 2-inch receiver, it's just a spacer. But I buy these because they're still 1/4-inch wall. There's a lot of meat there, and it's usually plenty for hauling just like trailers around. So right there, and that pin just goes in and it captures this soft shackle. So in that soft shackle we can put our pulley back here. So we're pulling back here with the winch, as you saw, and then you hook it to the front of the vehicle, and as you pull the winch in, the cable is coming back here through the pulley. So this is just a directional pulley, just coming back, changing the direction of pull essentially to reverse the pulling direction. And then, as you guys saw, we're just pulling the vehicle off the trailer. That's what this is back here. And that is it's one of those clutch things. I'm glad I added this trailer. And pretty much everyone who I've shown that to, of my buddies, they're talking about adding that to their trailer now. Man, that is a good looking truck and trailer. So that wraps up the Suburban video. It's in its final resting place now on my mom's property. So trailer pulled great. We checked the hubs and the brakes a couple times throughout the trip. Not warm at all. Tires look good. We weren't doing the wagging the tail at all. So everything worked out great, other than the 7.6 miles per gallon on the average, but probably could have slowed down a little bit and gotten a little bit better than that. But that wraps up the Suburban recovery, or moving, or whatever. Thanks for watching.